All right, good to have you back. What we're looking at is So What by Miles Davis. And today we're going to do a bit of a harmonic analysis here and take a look at what is not shown in the chart. All right. Uh, I remember when I first started playing jazz gigs and I'd look at real book charts and I'd see something like this and I'd think, like, but it's only got a D minor chord. What do I do? Right? I mean, just vamp on the D minor seven chord for like 16 measures, like that's pretty weird. But let's see if there's something else in here that we can glean. Let's read the chords that are here in the treble clef. So the chords that are here in the treble clef are a D, a G, and a B, which is just a G major chord, right? And then it goes down to an F major chord, right? And now that I'm reading in just where the guitar would be written, we'll change this in a sec. Um, so those first two chords, right? Yeah, it's cool. It's a second inversion G major chord to a second inversion F major chord. Now, if I take that up an octave, we would have the same thing, right? And that sounds cool already. That sounds. It's like as for guitaristically speaking, it's just like a little D chord shape, right? All right. So those are the two chords that are written here in the treble clef. But as you can see, we're in grand staff here, and so we have this chord stacks up a little deeper than that, doesn't it? When we take a look at the notes that are also in the bass clef, in bass clef we have an E and an A. All right, so if I take my E and A, I'll find them right there. E, A. And then if I take that triad like I had before, that second inversion G, okay, and then I put those together. That's a very, very different chord than what we started with here. Right? Now all of a sudden I've got like that. Okay, so what is that? Um, what is that thing? So let's take a look at it like this, like an E minor seven chord. But we don't want that fifth in there. We just take that fifth out. And so rather than the five, it becomes a four, right? In other words, the E minor seven chord. If I arpeggiate it, this would be the one, the flat three, the five, right, and the seven root, and so on. But we don't want that. This chart doesn't indicate that fifth, even though they tell us that this is a D minor seven chord. This tells us that it's not. So what I would do at that point is listen to the recording, which of course you can do as well, and you'll immediately hear, I'm sure, that it's not a D minor seven chord. It's actually this stacked four idea, right? And when I say stacked four, I mean fourths stacked on top of each other. A fourth is the same as an 11th, an octave higher. It'll depend on, you can call it a D minor 11, you could call it a D minor 11 too, E minor 11, D minor 11. That would be okay. But that fourth is quite low in the voicing. It is actually in the fourth position. That's another thing. Let's just call it stacked fourths or a fourths voicing, right? This should be especially easy because for guitar players, because our instrument is tuned in fourths, right? So it's all, that's, we've got those really ambiguous fourths. I mean, I can play it at a bar here. It's the same thing because that's the way my guitar is tuned, right? Okay, so these are fourths. These are stacked four voicings, which are really really cool. Now, I think what we should do is extrapolate those stacked four voicings across the Dorian mode because, as we know, chords come from scales, right? So these voicings came from, right, the Dorian mode, and so if they came from the Dorian mode, well, why not take one voicing? And we're going to make this because I want you to be able to play this and get it. I'm going to take this down to a three-note chord. So I've got a fourth and another four there too, which would be the minor third. But we're going to take this chord and we're going to think of playing the D Dorian mode laterally across the fretboard. So moving this way, just as if we're playing three Dorian modes at the same time. I know that sounds nuts, but it's the way it is. So we're going to harmonize the D Dorian mode, and we're going to move up like we did before. Right? So those notes are still in the D Dorian mode. And then if we move one more, still D Dorian, same. This one changes up a little bit, right? But still the same idea. We're just going through the mode, and then the same thing down to here. So let's not bother naming these. Let's just call them fourths. Now they're not all the same shape because the scale is, we're harmonizing the scale. So in this position here, the scale is right. And there obviously are ways that you can name these chords. There's all sorts of different ways you can name these chords. But all we're doing is harmonizing the Dorian mode. Let's go all the way down here. We can take that up an octave to here. So let's see what we've got. There's another one, still Dorian mode. That, right? And so all of that is going to work in the key. So you're not only playing the D minor 7, you can play these stacked four voicings. In this case, I'm just doing the string set of 2, 3, and 4. But let's. So what I'm doing here is I'm I'm taking the a portion of the chord just so it doesn't get too thick and heavy. I'm just taking a portion of the chord and I'm harmonizing that portion of the chord in that fourth type chord across laterally across the fretboard through the different Dorian modes, right? So these, yeah, right. You get the idea. All right. Okay. So we're looking at it laterally rather than vertically. Laterally, you'll have to sort of put that together. Yeah, yeah. All right. Now let's just take a look at this chord, the one that if you read exactly what's here, that's what you're going to end up with. If we bring it up an octave. Now, as I said before, that's a second inversion major triad, right? Like that D shape there. Okay, but now what we want to do is harmonize that over the top three strings. So this is going to be a more triadic sound, not like stacking fourths, but this is a nice comping opportunity too, and you've got to learn this anyway. So let's start with let's back up. So we go from the G back to the F, and then E minor, D minor, C, A minor, just these triads, and B diminished, and then finally C. So what we're doing there is we're trying to dig into the harmony that's implied in this tune, right? It's not all written out in great big gigantic notes that say play this and that's all there is. You have to dig deeper and start to discover what is really being implied there. And if you're listening to the original recording or other people playing it, you'll likely start to hear these stacked four sounds, right, and also these triadic sounds, which are just which come directly. They're diatonic and come directly out of the Dorian mode. It's a more pianistic way of comping. It's like a lap piano, right? That George Van Epps used to call it a lap piano. I love that one. So it's a very, very different approach to learning chord voicings than a picture, and then you take your fingers and place that picture on the guitar fretboard. Not a great way of doing things, because chords come from scales. So you start with the scale and build the chords. In this case, we're using the Dorian mode, and we're building laterally one step at a time. You can just take this very slowly at first, but you just build one step at a time laterally through the fretboard, and think of it as if you're playing three scales, right? At the same time, like three lateral scales. Like if I take for instance just the lateral scale, there's a lateral Dorian mode, or here's another one. Right. You get the idea? And so you should learn to play not only vertically, this when I say, vertically, guitar players all want to stick in boxes, but we're moving on from that, and what we want to do is be able to think laterally across the fretboard, cross from one vertical fingering to another laterally, and do it not only with one note at a time, but do it with three notes at a time. And so you can do that same thing with any chord voicing. I mean, if we started with root position triad, for instance, right, and we work our way through. Right, and so on. You get the idea. So you're going to end up with different voicings, different inversions, or different voicings of the same chords. Okay. But for this exercise, stacked fours on strings 2, 3, and 4, right, all the way up and down laterally, and then on strings 1, 2, and 3, second inversion triads harmonizing through the scale. And you can hear that, it'll start to sound like a scale, a chord scale, right? That's what we're doing. Okay, cool. I hope that was a help. That's digging in a little deeper, and it's what we're trying to do is reveal, do a dive into the tune and reveal what's in that tune, reveal what is there for us to learn. And this was a little bit of a reveal of the harmony, the inner harmony of So What laterally on the guitar fretboard. Okay, cool. Thanks for stopping by. And if this is a help to you at all, subscribe or click like. If you have any questions or comments, as long as the comments are nice, I'm only taking nice comments, then we'd really like to know. Okay. Good. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you soon.